9/11, 9/11, and 9/11. These are the events that help shape the history of your birthday. September the 11th. If you watch this show, it will be 9/11 times 1,000. Yes, 911,000. My name is CassAnaya, and this is the Birthday Blog. Hello everyone, welcome to the Birthday Blog. I am CassAnaya of the Anaya brothers, your host for today's birthday, September the 11th. This is a 366 episode epic 7-year-long project. More later on you can help, but we are here for today. Your shitty birthday, September the 11th, your birthday. Oh. Okay, that's the September the 11th poltergeist. Some dates are haunted. 420 is haunted by a Hitler wearing a trench coat, smoking pot. Let's see here, 7/7 by one of those tote bag things. December the 7th, yeah, that one's haunted by Michael Bay talking about explosions as if they were plot lines. This day, September the 11th, is haunted by some asshole singing country songs. So, okay, well good, he seems to have freedom! God, Toby Keith, asshole! Alright, I guess I'm being redundant. I'm sorry. Given the amount of filming that we're doing, I doubt that's the last time we're going to see that happen. Alright, these are the events that helped form the history of your birthday, September the 11th. Starting with year 9. Yes, 9 is where we start. The Battle of Teutberg Forest. German tribes led by Arminius ambushed 3 Roman legions and their auxiliaries. A Roman legion consists of about 6,000 troops. All of them died. 20,000 Roman troops enslaved or cooked in pots, and their bones used for religious rituals, seen here reenacted by Bugs Bunny. Since then, Arminius, known as Hermann, has become a symbol for pan-Germanic nationalism and pride. Not so much lately, though, because Germany, for some reason, has been kind of weary about being prideful of their military past. With this 20,000 dead in the classical era, this is the worst thing to ever happen on 9/11. Moving on. The Battle of Stirling Bridge. William Wallace of the Scots defeats the English. What do you think of my Scottish accent?
It's really good.
Except me fucking it up. Now, you might be saying, I've seen Braveheart. There's no bridge battle in Braveheart. As good as the film was, it was a little historically inaccurate. Santiago de Chile joins the small club of cities that have been destroyed. For some reason, the indigenous people were mad about a bunch of decapitated natives. Yeah. And they also were labeled by the conquistadors as Mashima, or foreigners. It's that old joke where the white guy goes to Africa and says, "Hey, look at all these foreigners here. Yeah, this whole place is just full of minorities." By the way, the bloodthirsty conquistador that decapitated all those native foreigners, a woman. So, congratulations, women. Sadistic killers in history, men don't have the entire providence. Speaking of asshole Spanish Empire, this day in 1609 saw the expulsion order announcement of the Moriscos in Valencia. On the same day, Henry Hudson, the man whom all the water is named after in New England, discovers the island of Manhattan and meets some more of those indigenous people. Even old New York was once New Amsterdam.
Why they changed it, I can't say.
People just liked it better that way. The Battle of Zenta. In 697, Ottomans were crossing a river. 30,000 casualties against 429 for the opposing force. Charles XII of Sweden turns back from his proposed invasion of Moscow. You see, he fell victim to one of the classic blunders, the most famous of which is never get involved in a land war in Asia.
But only slightly less well known is this: never go in against a Sicilian when death is on the line.
Sorry, I get a little lightheaded when I quote Wallace Shawn. All right, and that brings us to your birthday in war. The Battle of Malplaquet in the War of Spanish Succession, a war the whole point of which was to keep Spain and France from forming a super empire. The Siege of Barcelona in 1714, or as they wouldn't pronounce it in Barcelona, Barcelona. Let's go to Barcelona and get them tapet. Peace talks break down in Staten Island between British and American forces in the escalating Revolutionary War. And the 7 Years' War, France repels British invasion in the Battle of St. Cast. And this has been your birthday in war. 1777 saw General George Washington defeated by smug, monocle-wearing Brits in the Battle of Brandywine. The bad guys went on to cross the Brandywine River and take Philadelphia. It's said that the musky scent of their condescending douchery could be smelled in the air as far as Baltimore. Luckily, Washington was able to escape using the Buckleberry Ferry, just as Frodo Baggins did in his famous crossing of the Brandywine in 318 of the Third Age. Washington knew that, like the Dark Riders, Englishmen are innately terrified of water. This day, to be truthful, is a very American day. The breakdown of peace talks in the American Revolution, Battle of Brandywine, as I just said. The Annapolis Convention starts in 1786, which is the beginning of the demise of the Articles of Confederation, which this day marks the beginning of what becomes the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. Alexander Hamilton is appointed as the first Secretary of the Treasury of the United States. The War of 1812. In 1813, British troops land in Mount Vernon to invade Washington, D.C., which they do. 1 year later, the Battle of Plattsburgh, a major victory for the United States in that war. And in 1978, the Camp David Accords are signed on 9/11. 1792, the Hope Diamond is stolen during the early stages of the French Revolution. This 45.52 carat diamond was said to be cursed, and the former owners, King Louis and Marie Antoinette, were beheaded a few months later. At that time, it was called the French Blue, a diamond measuring 69 carats. After this, it disappeared from history, so to speak, and reappeared as the Hope Diamond, 25 carats smaller. Who would do that? Who would do that? Who looks at the Hope Diamond and says, you know what's wrong with this giant piece of diamond that's probably the biggest that the world has ever seen? It's too big. Let's defile it. Hey, Paulie, stick it up your butt a little bit. That's hilarious. I wonder if the Hope Diamond has ever gone up anyway.
I'm sure it has.
Yes.
If Boston people got a hold of it at some point.
Yeah, well, it was owned by the French for a long time.
Oh, well, definitely.
Yes. 9/11 will be forever linked to an unspeakable tragedy on, yes, of course I am speaking of, Oh, Susanna was performed for the first time by lyrical supervillain Stephen Foster. Not content to simply taint the face of American music with the bafflingly insipid Camptown races, Foster unleashed his ultimate diabolical scheme. The sun's so hot, I froze to death? Come on. And how does one travel across state lines with a banjo affixed to one knee? You can't do that. Come on. Two more American things here. 1941, ground is broken on the construction of the Pentagon, the world's largest office building, a place with its own zip code, police force, and several subway stops. Same day, Charles Lindbergh delivers a speech asking for American non-involvement in World War II in Des Moines, criticizing Nazi anti-Semitism, but warning the Jewish people's large ownership and influence in our motion pictures, our press, our radio, and our government, saying that what the problem is the Roosevelt administration's prejudice to Germans. Pete Rose, a gambler and cheat, breaks venerable racist Ty Cobb's all-time hit record. Russia tested the largest conventional weapon ever in 2007. Interestingly, in Liechtenstein that day, they tested the grumpy incontinent uncle of all bombs to much less fanfare. And in 2001, I was driving to a friend's house, and NPR was freaking out. They were talking about like world markets dropping in New York City and all this crazy stuff. You could tell it was important, but I didn't know exactly what was going on. I thought it was the start of a new Great Depression. That's just from hearing it. That's what I thought was going on. Go into my friend's house, turn on the television, see what's actually happening. All right. Like at this time, I was living in this woman's basement, and I had this conversation with her later, where I was freaking out about the whole thing in New York, and about all the people who died. I was wondering what this is going to mean for the world, and so I was distraught about it. And she couldn't figure out why I was distraught about it. To her, it was odd that I was concerned so much about people far away who were dying. To her, she justified it in her mind by saying, "Oh, you must have relatives in New York." I remember exactly what this woman said. I've never met a more unempathetic, like devoid of compassion, psychotic person in my whole life. She is one of two people on this earth that I hate. She earned that hatred. She had to work hard to earn that hatred. I would like people on my Twitter feed. I am CassAnaya. My name is CassAnaya. You can go to Twitter, CassAnaya, and send me your little stories about where you were when 9/11 happened, where you heard about it. Everyone has an interesting story, and read other people's entries as far as that goes. I would like to read what you say about it, please. But now, let's move on with the show. Well, who else was born on your birthday? Who died on your birthday? Well, we'll get to that in just a moment. But first, here's my brother with his segment, The Rule of Three. Todd.
Thank you, Cass. Hello and happy birthday to all you September 11th-ians. A lot of really awful things have happened on your birthday, but I'm here to tell you which of 3 events is the most hurricane-y things to happen on your birthday. This is a special hurricane film grossing edition of the Rule of Threes. Let's get started. Number 1, Hurricane Edna hits New England, proceeds northwestward, bypassing Hispaniola. Why do I mention that? Because I really like saying Hispaniola. Number 2, Hurricane Carla eventually made its way to Lake Michigan, very, very, very far away from Hispaniola. And number 3, and finally, Hurricane Iniki strikes Hawaii. Well, now it's time to decide in this special hurricane film grossing edition which hurricane caused more damage based upon the scale of film grosses. One of these hurricanes caused damages equaling the film gross of Iron Man. One of these hurricanes caused the damage equaling the film gross of Titanic, and one of these hurricanes caused the damage equaling the film gross of Step Up 3D. Which of these 3 events is the most hurricane-y to happen on your birthday? Is it Edna, Carla, or Iniki? Which is Iron Man, Titanic, and Step Up 3D? For the answer, continue to part 2 of the birthday blog by clicking the link here. There you will also see births and deaths of some individuals who share your birthday. If you haven't already, remember to subscribe, comment, and like. For CassAnaya, I'm Anaya, saying click the link. The show is not over.